one much bolder guy than the
Yes,
other.
yes, yes. I see
And
that.
Doug's not really deaf. He just uses this to pick up women. He can hear everything we say.
I don't know. That would be a really hard accent to put on, I would think.
He
Yeah,
he.
yeah. It's from a different planet.
Doug was.
Anyway,
We would. What did we do the other day, Doug? And Doug was going, "Oh, I can't hear anything. Like I don't think the audio's working." And I said, "Doug, you do realize you're deaf. What are you trying to hear?"
The captions, if the captions don't come up, that's how I know there's no audio.
so I don't know what you have on the agenda for today, but I always like to play a game with LinkedIn connections. And if you're open for it, I would like to play that game.
Sure. Do whatever you want.
Sure, why
Whatever
not?
blows your hair back. Whatever blows your hair back. You do whatever you want.
My game is I want you to tell me what you think I do and anything that you know about me based on my content. And I will tell you what I think, what I know about you and what I think you do based on your content. Because I
That,
find
that
that it's very informative.
that's
Oh,
that's a
that's
very
cheating. I can't
no
do
no no.
that. I'll
That's
let
actually very
Simon
good.
do that.
That's very good because I was actually going to do this with my sister, and my sister's 2.5 years younger, and she
You
has
have a sister. I didn't know that.
yeah, very bossy one, and she has no clue what I do. But and because I've traveled a lot, for a long time, I think my own parents even thought I was a drug dealer because I was always talking to them from a different country. So
Have to look.
I think, Raisy, well, I know what you do, and I read your stuff, so it's a bit unfair. But from a systems process coach and consultant, I think you're very good at working with. I don't know if is your target small to medium enterprise, or you want to, so target small to medium enterprise on putting in process and procedure to help businesses grow. I think that's what you're that's what you think you do, whether you actually do that in real life when you actually get down to it. That's like saying look, Doug's burning his incense. He's marshalling the spirit. What are you doing, Doug? You're setting shit on fire. Did you have a bad Mexican meal for breakfast? Is that why you got the candle in your office?
No, 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 no. I just need to bring peace and tranquility to the podcast.
Okay.
So that's what I think you do. Did I get it right? Close?
You did. You did. I'm impressed. And honestly, the fact that you actually have implemented some of that in your business, as I've seen from your comments, is probably why you're getting it. Because I was working with Doug for a while, and we were really having a hard time with the education component because a lot of people who are not in corporate don't really use these words so much. Systems they think is technology. Process they think, what does that even mean? So I'm really grateful that you were able to understand the messages that I'm putting out there. That's very
So
reassuring.
I got overrun by a team of people about putting this all in. So we went to a cloud-based HR platform called Bamboo, and so our whole company, you start and finish with Bamboo, and then everything is on Google Drive, so everything is documented from a process and procedure perspective. So we have a very good VP of finance and a very good HR director, and everything from vehicle maintenance to payroll to time clocking to all the shit that I have no idea what it really does. We had to grow up and be a real company for once.
Who's your executive vice president? Remind me again. What does
Her
she
name's
do?
Nadia. She runs the company, so I don't have it much to do with on the day-to-day basis. And
What's her background though? Is she like
she's been in
a
transportation for 20,
COO or something like
she's been
that?
in transportation for like 20 years. And she went to work for Coca-Cola, and then we got her back. So
Nice, nice. See, Simon, you're the exception though. Most small businesses are complete chaos and they're trying to grow, but they can't grow because they don't have processes to grow. And they can't train new employees to make up for the old ones. So that raises expertise is trying to make sure that think back 5 years ago, where you were 5 years ago, she would have been perfect for you to help you grow systemically without too much chaos getting into the business.
I have a different question. What would happen if Nadia left?
if Nadia left, It would
You
cause
were
a
definitely more busy, Simon, when you were much more involved than
yeah.
everything,
I'd
right?
have to raise. I'd have to step back into the breach until we replaced her. I think most of the team is self-healing in the sense that the people that were left would be able to cover for a short time. I wouldn't like it because I'd have to step back in and do her job.
Yeah.
But I think that if she, I think we're trying to put in redundancy now to a business that says, really, I mean, they were all talking about, we've got 4 people out of the office all week, so the whole management team's here in DC, but
Oh, nice.
the company's still running. And, we've been virtual. If you look, 8 of our people are in Serbia, Nadia's in New York, our other 2 are in Chicago, and the rest are in Colorado. So, the team's used to working remotely or virtually, and our industry tends to do that. And I started working with, a consultant that Doug actually knows and put us in touch with. Did you introduce us to Claire, Doug?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I introduced you to anybody you've ever hired from LinkedIn.
Yeah, I know.
Anybody good you got from Doug?
Yeah.
That's true. Actually, he hasn't. He has, but we hired this person, Raisy, a while ago, and we said, the motivation for wanting to work with that consultant for me is that I wanted my life back because I was chained to the business, and that person provided a lot of clarity around, what that would look like. And then that's when we started to go out and hire people. But I get it when you're self-employed, that's not everyone's going to want to do that. Just from a financial perspective, to say, when you go and do that, there's a direct cost to the business. We've all got a wish list, but can we, can someone, is a business going to be able to sustain that? I just bit the bullet and said, no, we have to hire these people, and then we have to pay them appropriately. And that's what happened. So, and I think, we should even reverse the question back to Doug. See, Doug's been flapping around on LinkedIn for a long time. And I think his challenge is how he scales Doug Lawson. See, I know how to scale our business. That's easy. How do you scale his business, or how do you scale your business?
She knows a little bit about my business. Go ahead, Raisy. How would you scale my business?
Well, I think you've done a lot of reframing over the summer, which I think was a big shift for you. So I have to think about it, because now I'm thinking about new Doug as opposed to old Doug.
New Doug.
Oh, Doug, tell them about old me.
Old Doug looked kind of sick. He kind of looked very worn out and gray.
Yeah.
He didn't smile as much, but even if he did, it didn't have the twinkle. And he was working really, really hard and firing on all cylinders, and he wasn't even getting much back for all of that effort. True. So yeah, so I'm really, when even his posts in September just felt like they had so much more juice in them. There was like more fire, like the good kind. But I thought that post you put out recently, talking about the different things that you do, that you ghostwrite and you do coaching and you do groups, I thought was very clear. I really like that.
Yeah, because talking to you over the summer, by the way, for those of you who don't know, she kind of helped me figure out how to get my video more streamlined. And I was at that point that she was talking about where completely started for my business. I just had enough. And then she really made me forced to look at what is it that I'm doing every single day. So that's when I started coming up with the ratio. Oh, right now I'm 20% ghostwriting. Those fluctuate. They allow me to be clear-headed. And then if I have to hire somebody, I know when and how to hire them quickly and get them on board. I didn't have that in the summer at all.
Where are you now in terms of hiring? Like, who's part of your team?
So I have a video guy, Simon knows him. I have 2 copywriters that help me with larger projects. I don't have a BA, but I did train my wife to get on board with the business and help me, not because she's very detail oriented, and use that part of her brain to help me see what's going on and organize my Google Sheet, organize my processes, so to speak. That's all her. We didn't work well together at first because I'm not good at taking orders from people. So then she just blew up at me. She's like, "Hey, do you want help or not? Because I'm fine doing what I'm doing." I'm like, shoot. So I have to listen to what she says and really take it on, and then start organizing myself a little bit better. So those are my team members. That's right now.
So, Raisy, why did you ask the question, about what we thought you do? Do you think your clients or prospects, do they not understand what you do when they first meet you?
Well, a couple of pieces. One is that, like I mentioned, I think there's a lack of knowledge in the small business space about what this is. I think a lot of people have a lot of, like, before you had met Claire, and someone had said the word process to you, would it have meant anything to you?
Well, I think yes, because I've been around a while and I've worked in corporate for a long time, and so
Right.
I got
Okay.
I got subjected to the McKinseys and the Accentures and the PwCs of the world, wasting countless hours of our lives, right?
So let's take a different, avatar, someone who just got into business without working in corporate and has a business, and they've grown pretty quickly. They don't really have any leadership skills. They never got an MBA. They don't really know anything about it. So they just know that they're choking. They know that they're everything's tight, and they don't want to market more because they can't handle the growth. So they don't know where to turn. Should they turn to a coach? Should they turn to a marketing expert? Like, what is the direction that they should go in? So I'm one of the options of how we can solve that problem, but they don't know how to find me because they don't know what I do or what I am, or that I'm a thing. And so part of my LinkedIn content is this educational space of letting people know that this is a thing. This is something that can help you, and I can help you help yourself.
And I think your messaging is on point because you're always telling a story as opposed to vomiting down the keyboard and saying, buy my shit, and I'm a consultant. So because self-employed people are very weary of, people are always coming at us all day, every day.
When I think of the word consultant, I think of a man in a suit holding an attaché case who's going to just verbally vomit at me.
That's me. I'm a man in a suit. There you go. Look, see, I was a consultant for a long time. But okay. So what do you think we do?
So, well, I know what Doug does because of that. First of all, because we've talked a while, but also because of that post I thought was really clear.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want to come back to those table time conversations with his wife shortly, but we'll talk about.
He's scared of his wife,
Well, all men should be.
I'm not scared of mine anymore.
By the way, Raisy had a great story. She's in a similar position with her husband. Her husband, one of his side jobs is running a summer camp, and it was a mess. And before he listened to Raisy, and she whipped it right into shape, and now we're running like a proper business. So that's another story for you. But go ahead.
Yes, I was very much relating to that when you talked about how your wife was saying, "Are you going to listen to me? You're not going to listen to me." So I very much related to that, and we work really well together. We complement each other, but we have to set the boundaries of what that looks like, because otherwise it can, But
exactly.
Yeah, but I did really help him grow his business, and the way that we did that was through a lot of structure and roles and responsibilities, and being able to let go, because it's so hard to let go. It's so hard to let go.
Yes, it is.
You have to want to grow, because if you don't want to grow, you won't let go. There's like this push and pull. It's like a choice. Either you're going to trust and let go, or you're never going to be able to grow. And that's okay. Some people really just want to stay small, and there's something beautiful in creating something small. It doesn't have to become an empire. No,
I don't want to be small.
But if Simon, if you ask me what I know about your content, I think you do something with transportation, and you deal with very wealthy clientele who want like 100% perfect customer service. I think you deal something with security. I'm not sure why that goes together, but something about security. You have a daughter who needs security. I'm not sure why. Maybe that's your own trust issues. I think you're divorced. I think you're from Australia, but you travel a lot. Let me think what else I know. Oh, you make fun of Doug, which I don't really like, because he's a really nice guy.
No,
And everyone good in your life came through Doug, so you should be nicer to him.
Thank you, Raisy. Thank you.
No. Yeah, I mean, that's close to being accurate, I think. We run
do much more than that, Sam.
Maybe.
So fill in, because this is just from, like, you use the feed, what you get. So tell me more.
So I've never used LinkedIn to want to pitch or push our business. I've never done that. And Doug and I have talked about that a lot. We have a transportation business and a security business. So we provide executive transportation for corporates, for retail customers, for high net worth individuals. And then we provide executive protection, which is security for very, very high net worth individuals and their families. And so that means armed people that travel with you, and security drivers and armored vehicles. And we do that in multiple countries. And so if a client's going on a holiday for 3 weeks, our whole team will go with them. And we do everything from logistics to concierge, transportation, and executive protection. So that's that 1%, of the market that is very price inelastic, and that's very sticky. So once you've got those clients, they tend to stay with you for a while, but it requires a lot of effort and planning and logistics and process and procedure. But it's exciting because a lot of people don't want to go near it because it's too much trouble. So
it could be very high stress.
I don't think so. I think we deal with a lot of stress in regards to a lot of moving parts, but not, it's not that stressful. I mean, I was in Egypt for a week, and that was stressful because the Egyptians are crazy and the whole country's crazy, and moving around was insane, right?
Just take an entire country and just label them just one stroke.
We can edit that bit out. We'll call it, like
yes.
Tasmania. Over when you do the titles, Doug, just put Tasmania where I said. Okay. So,
I think you're massively underselling yourself, Simon. Massively. I've told you this so many times. You have 5 or maybe 6 companies, maybe 7 at this point. You count Royal. I'm lost. 5 of them are transportation companies, like shuttle buses, and the other 2 are what you're talking about. That aside, you have a 20-year career as an executive in sales, overseas, Asian sales. I mean, you have some of the best business minds I've ever met. Personally, this is not to blow smoke. And yeah, you continue to say, I have nothing to sell on LinkedIn. I'm just going to talk about this one little thing. No, my friend, you have so much to share. That is really high impact across 30 years of experience in business. So that's it, in my opinion.
Well, you're very kind, but I appreciate that. But I think that where we are at today with the business is that we have built a really good team that I can walk away from. And so I think that I trust them implicitly, Raisy, and I think from a process and procedure, it's in place that it works. And we talk about it. It sounds weird, but we talk about continuity planning. If something was to happen to me while I was on the road, the business wouldn't miss a beat. And the team know exactly what to do even down to the financial structure of how to run the company. And I think that that's refreshing that I've got to that point, because I'm very OCD, Raisy. I can't tell you that, you know, if you knew me 5 years ago and to where we are today, the fact that I really don't have anything to do with the day-to-day business. And so we're at a big convention here. There's 900 people. I introduce everybody and say, that's Nadia. She runs the company. I just look after security bits, and I'm a part-time car detailer. So I think that's, but to get to that point was huge. And I would encourage anybody that needed to use your services, to do that, because the faster you get there, like I actually have a life now, but where I didn't before, whereas I should have actually just gone back to corporate and made, good money as opposed to run the business, because it wasn't much fun, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of entrepreneurs that are handcuffed to their business.
It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to do what you did. It takes a lot of courage. Both, even the idea of having a plan for should something happen to you, that takes courage to face reality and say, this is where I'm at. This is where the gap is, and I'm going to traverse it. And I'm not everybody can do it. And I think that if I could give you a standing ovation on Zoom, I would do it, but it would kind of cut me out.
But see, here's a question for both of you. It's like, okay, whatever your personal situations are, Doug, let's, you Raisy, say, at what point in your personal relationships did you give that person your credit card or your ATM card? And say, we're in this together. We're in this together now. We're one unit. At what point did you both give the key to the door? Your key to your apartment, or your key to your ATM machine or a credit card? What point?
Well, for me, I met my wife at 1 month. We got married 6 months later. So for me, relatively fast.
Okay, Raisy, what about you?
So I had a very rocky dating story with my husband. So that would take like a really long time to tell the story. But once we got it together, it was pretty quick. So once we were both ready to go, we were both ready to go. And it went pretty quickly. But I think it took a lot of building. We built trust slowly over time. That's what a relationship is. It's about slowly, you take a step forward, they take a step forward, you take a step forward, they take a step forward. And then slowly you get to a place where, okay, I'm giving you my credit card. But it doesn't happen overnight.
And I just it took me 5 years to rip the Band-Aid off and give them the keys to the bank account. And when I did that to our finance director, like the weight off my shoulders was lifted.
But Simon, that is not fair to say that you ripped off the Band-Aid. That is not a Band-Aid ripping. That is a slow peeling over 5 years. And then eventually the Band-Aid came off.
Well, that's
you could
true.
not.
What the hell? To slowly pull the Band-Aid off, it really hurts.
But that's what I'm saying, is that I didn't trust anybody to that point in that 5 years to do that. And when I did, and that's what I would say to any prospect that wants to work with you, Raisy, is say, look, the only way you'll grow is if you let go. And and as old as I am, and as much as experience as you both think I may have, I was stupid for not taking my own consulting advice and saying, look, this is silly. They're not going to make it. Our finance director has seen it all before. He wasn't going to, there was nothing that he was going to see that he was going to be worried about. And now we share, I mean, he's, stuck to my hip, this guy now. And he's transformed our business from a financial perspective. I will tell you. Absolutely.
Are you willing to say that he's smarter than you?
He's way smarter than me. Way smarter than me. Our whole team is way smarter than me. The whole team.
That's what Raisy tells everybody. I don't understand why that's confusing. She gets you out of the weeds of your business, get your life back, and get your company thriving by creating these systems in place to make that happen. That is what she does in a nutshell. That's $1 million offer, by the way.
But I do understand why it's so hard to let go. I really do. I also, I'm even as if even if still this is what I do and this is what I preach, it's still hard for me to let go and really believe that someone's gonna take my vision forward with all my perfectionism and psychotic detail.
You
No, you
told me
two are the same.
you told me she wasn't psycho. I've got enough batshit crazy women in my life. I need no more crazy women. You said she was
She's the
normal.
right kind of psycho.
I say paradigm shift. I didn't
Don't say that
I
word. Cut her off.
I
Yeah,
did.
she said it. I'll tell you, shoot people in the head that say that to me. I tell you.
No, and I have to tell you, I feel like all of this, the psychobabble and the jargon that people throw around, it's so off-putting. It really is. Nobody wants to hear, like, it doesn't make you look smart. And I'm not going to say what it makes you look like, but when people just talk real and use regular words to explain concepts, I just feel like it democratizes the whole thing. We're all living in the same world. We're all dealing with the same struggles. Why are we pretending that one of us is standing high in a mountain who knows all? It's so annoying.
So, Doug, how do we help Raisy, generate more clients? Not the 3 people that listen to this thing. Like my mother can't buy Raisy stuff. She has no clue what she does.
I think we need to cut this podcast up into micro clips and gift her this entire podcast so that she can promote. Because the way you explain the ideal outcome is what she can provide for people. And I think small business owners don't prioritize certain things. They have a lot of priority, sales, marketing, whatever. So they don't see that as part of the whole thing. The whole thing, they see it as an individual problem when it's really the whole thing.
Raisy, how do you charge? How does someone engage your services?
I every month I change it up because one of the things that I really struggle with is that until you actually look under the hood, you don't really have a sense of what's really going on in a business. When you approached the person that consultant who helped you originally, you thought you had one problem. And then 5 years later, looking back, you're like, that's not what she really helped me with. She helped me with something much bigger and much deeper. And so finding that the way to deal with that, whether it's doing a discovery and then having a project plan moving forward that's priced differently. So I keep toying with it depending on the type of company. But it's something that I'm still playing with.
So that this particular client consultant was Claire, and she had a flat fee for her. It was a 3-month course. Okay, so that was, her program was come on board for 3 months. This is the fee. It was pretty simple, and I think entrepreneurs, small business owners love simple. And I look at it to me, and if I can do something monthly versus here's one big lump sum, that's easier for small businesses to digest.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
And I think that's the way you get your foot in the door. And we're using another consultant this week. Our whole team is here in DC, so we finish up this conference and then we go to this. We've got a security project, and then we've got this branding consultant that Doug put us in touch with, and they've got a flat fee for the day. But that flat fee is twice what it was when we first engaged them, because as they should be doing, they know that we've grown a little bit and we can afford it. And so just like if I was to use Raisy services today, and then in 12 months time or 24 months time, I say, hey, Raisy, we need your help again. What does that look like? It shouldn't be the same. It should be proportional to where you've helped us get, I think.
So here's a question for you. When you were engaged with that consultant for 3 months, and then it extended way beyond 3 months because you ended up working with her for a couple of years, did you feel like you had gotten your money's worth at the end of the 3 months? What was the deliverable at the end? What did you feel?
Yes, that very much. I think that very much, and when we work with Doug on a fee base, I've always believed that he's always over delivered. It's never been, we didn't get what we paid for. I think good consulting relationships are where you don't really think about the money. It's just You're a part of our business. We involve you in the day-to-day. Doug used to come to a lot of the calls. We didn't involve him on the emails, and then we just worked together. And so we never thought about it. Oh, we just burned $250 an hour with Raisy or Doug. I think great consulting relationships are more partnerships than vendor-client type arrangements. So I would encourage, I don't know how you charge, but I would encourage you to let people try before they buy, or have an entry-level product that really weeds out the, how do you find the whale within the business?
I think in your business, personally, I think the first offer you should give anybody is assessment and diagnosis and a plan of action. That's a flat fee that they have to pay for. Because most people just need to know what the problem is, what is the action plan, and what are the steps to take it. Now, they want to use you on an ongoing basis. That's just another fee on top of that. But in your world, I personally think small business owners would love to bring you on and have you look under the hood for them and give them a plan to put the car back together on the road, and what that price would be to make that happen.
And it shouldn't be free. I don't, big believer. Nothing should be free, because no one takes it of any value. So
no, I know, I'm too
It
smart.
should not be under 1,000. Just so you know, that first part should be high enough that they take you serious.
Yeah.
I agree. So you
All
work
right,
on.
folks, we're at the end of our time. This was great. This was great.
We
Let's
should
do it
this
again. Let's keep talking, because I think Raisy's much smarter than you and I, Doug. So we should just hitch our wagon to her.
Let's
And,
invite her back again.
And Raisy, if there's something that we can do and work together, I'd love to talk to you about that. So, I just because we're started down a path doesn't mean that we can't continue to get better at that. We're the eternal student of this. And so I think I'm keen to understand how you might be able to help us. So I'd like you to shoot me something.
Sure. I'd love to keep talking, and I want to hear about the other 90% of your business that we didn't talk about.
Yeah.
Very boring. Very boring. I have to go and be serious for 10 minutes.
All right.
This was lovely.
All right. Nice to meet you.
Same
See you,
here.
See you, Baldy.
All right. Bye-bye.